Well, this is sort of a capstone project for me, where I'll be 64 in a month and a half. I've wandered around doing a lot of things in my life. I've been very lucky, but I'm trying to pull a bunch of things together, and essentially we're creating Steelton Rising. We have our 501c3. We don't have a website yet, so don't look for it. It's not there. But essentially, our vision is to we have a target area of South Columbus, which is a pretty sizable area, and we want to reduce the different what we call the neighborhood racial and wealth divides. And essentially, we have pockets of poverty, even though Columbus economy has been doing very well and is ratcheting up, and with Intel coming and everything, there's still very persistent poverty, and with a lot of gentrification that's been happening over the years, and it's ratcheting up as well. Essentially the poor people are getting pushed into different neighborhoods as housing prices go up and such. So there are a lot of challenges there, and the actual mission itself is we want to catalyze. This is my fancy words. I'm reading, make sure I get it right because I'm old. Catalyzing the founding and growth of resident-owned businesses in South Columbus. But does that mean that we're going to take thousands of poor people and make them all business owners? No, no, no. But in working in the trenches with some of these folks in different areas, it's amazing how you learn about how creative folks are in tough situations, and you find yourself thinking, if we can work with some of the organizations that are helping people just get through some of the basic challenges in life in terms of feeding themselves, in terms of paying for rent and things like that. I mean, there's going to be a subset of those folks who show entrepreneurial instincts, maybe by necessity, doing some kind of side hustle, if you will, to survive. And those are the ones that we're looking at, and we're trying to show that entrepreneurship can be an option. You can get more control over your life by doing this, and it's just especially with role models, mentors, and things like that. There's some other cities that have been successful with this, and some other organizations, and we're trying to pull together best practices to make impact there. And just personal strategic level, we can't do this if it's all volunteer work. I've done a lot of volunteer work where I haven't been paid, which is fine. I'm happy to do that. But, first of all, I'm at the point in my life where I do need, to put some retirement money away. But secondly, if I want this to succeed after me, it can't just be another one of Bob's community projects. It has to be something where we have a staff with a sustainable financial system, a business model that works for us to keep going and doing this work beyond just short-term grants. Grants are fine, but you can't survive on them.
Can I jump in on that? I think that's one of the things that differentiates what this project is from other social ventures is this has to be sustainable. Yeah. And if it's a business company that's teaching other people how to be sustainable, we have to do the same. Yeah. And I think we have to live by what we say. Okay, sorry. So you've had a lot of organizations, you've started a lot of organizations, and you've worked on a lot of organizations. What has made the ones that are successful, what has made them successful? What has contributed to a successful organization such as this?
I'll tell you, just at a personal level, for what has been most useful for me, and just seeing the organizations together over time, is being able to really listen to see what the issues are. So many times, especially with social services things, you have groups coming in thinking that they're sort of saviors and they know the answers to everything, and you don't. And you can't engage with people, you can't get people engaged unless they're in the game, and they're explaining their needs to you. Plus, as you it's planning is critical, business planning is critical, um, but plans generally don't work the way you think they're going to. They change, and you have to be flexible enough, to realize that and put your ego aside. And if something's not working, why, and you got to fix it. And some folks have used the tenacity as a description on my part, and I don't know if that works or not. I have trouble even spelling it, but I think the main thing that I found is, you're going to fail at some things. At my age, I've learned there's lots of initiatives we tried that just haven't worked or haven't worked as well as we thought. And but if you stay at it, if you adjust, and you keep the vision together, you'd be surprised what you can do. And one person, I'm not saying that I've achieved that many great things, but I've achieved a lot of little things that add up. And that's what we want to help. If we can help the whole neighborhood get a culture of that, if we can be in the schools teaching entrepreneurship, classes, if we can have people, young people in particular, meet someone who's successfully running a business and running it as a business, that's a good thing.
All right, good, because we're capturing this on the whiteboard, and we'll also recording this. So you'll be able to, if those of you sitting in the back are having a little difficulty hearing, these are really good points that he makes. And then what advice would you give to students in order to understand the issues that we're trying to address?
Well, there are lots and lots of really good organizations. Columbus has probably over 300 of them, which is astonishing to me, but I've worked for some of them who help people with business plans, help people start their own business. But so many of them are focused more on the higher end people and venture capital and all these things, and they're not necessarily geared to helping the mom and pop kind of folks, or the kind of things that would help people get started that much. And I worked for a while with an organization called ECDI, Economic Community Development Institute, and that's probably the closest that I've seen to an organization succeeding in this. And there are some others that have as well, especially in Baltimore, Innovation Works. And the trick is to make sure that you're learning and understanding the issues of poverty and what folks really are facing, and the issues of gentrification. That's a piece of the puzzle. And realize that so many of the people in these neighborhoods, in these situations, they're in what I call firefighting mode. The fire's going on, maybe they're going to be evicted at the end of the week, or maybe, a child's drug habit or something is bringing down the whole family, or transportation. Maybe their car has died. I've been there. And it's hard to learn how to fight fires and prevent fires if you're having to fight them, because you got if people are hungry, you got to feed them now. Those kind of things. So there are lots of organizations that are focusing on those emergency services, and frankly, it's a struggle even just to pay for those. But they're doing good jobs, and there are a couple groups in particular in South Columbus that are doing great work on that. The Reeves Center, as well as Southside Thrive. But the difference is, I think one of the gaps is helping people do their own thing. And it's easy to look at something like this and the issues of poverty when you get into it. I remember one presentation to some of my friends who were just getting started in this work. And as a social worker was explaining more and more of the issues, the people's eyes just got bigger and bigger. And you get just intimidated by the size, the scale of the problem. In Franklin County, the most populous county in Ohio, where there are maybe 1.3 million people, something like that. there are about 500,000 people who've been touched by poverty at some time in their lives, according to some studies that have been out recently. That's a big number. Not 500,000. I lied. 200,000. That's still a big number. You get old. It happens. And you can't let that paralyze you in thinking, oh my God, this will never change. I can't do anything. Am I going to solve poverty? No. But you can still make a difference. And you can. And there's some very realistic ways of doing it. And we're going to try to show that. And I think I found a niche in terms of not reinventing the wheel. I mean, when you usually hear when you're starting a new nonprofit is, oh my God, another 501c3. Why do we need another one? Well, we don't want to reinvent the wheel, but what we do want to do is make connections. What we find out is that most people don't know these services are out there, much less how they can handle them, and how they can get to them. And if they have the guidance of a good mentor or someone like that, you can help them find their way. And as the information over the internet and stuff just sort of explodes, that makes it even that much harder and more intimidating for folks to, they don't know what to do to start their own business. But if you can help them get started and work their way through the maze, that's where you can do some things a little differently. And
All right.
These disadvantaged folks. I'll be quiet. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say reinforce. I think one of the things, there's a lot of public services out there that are contributing and giving people, helping them survive, but it doesn't them.
Are you still there?
Don't give them a fish, teach them how to fish. I want to teach them how to fish. And you're not going to get everybody. You're not going to make everybody on the street corner an entrepreneur. One family member that does is once you work that into a community, it will spread. It's the culture, the idea that I can do this is just almost as important as actually being able to do it, right? Some sort of some belief that I can actually be successful in some sort of business enterprise is another challenge that we have to overcome. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And sometimes somebody maybe has a dream and they get a dream, and the best thing you can do is to help show them, well, this dream may not be exactly practical the way you're doing it, but you could do this instead. And you're helping people to sort of minimize their own risk as they learn, about what they're a good match for and what they're not. Okay,
well, cool. Well, so this is great. Bob, you're still going to be able to come back next Thursday? Okay.
Looking forward to it.
So after this project 4 is due, start focusing in on the research, because Bob will be back here a week from today. And on Tuesday, Zach will work with you on formulating questions. You should have some foundational research done to where you've almost, you want to know more, enough about what the topic that we're discussing here, but you will, just like in any situation, you will have some interesting questions that you want to get clarity around. And then we will try to get resources for you to start reaching out to your network, people who might be familiar with these type of situations or these type of populations or these type of neighborhoods, and see if you can start working to have conversational research based off of the questions that you have and the answers that Bob gives. And then on Tuesday of next week, actually, I will be with Bob and we're going to be talking about this topic with some other stakeholders, right? Yes. Correct. Mm-hmm. All right. Good. Well, thank you so much. Again, we'll fix the audio issue for the next section, but we do have this on recorded, and we'll circulate the recording. Everybody wave to Bob. Okay.
Nice virtually meeting you.
Yeah, all right.